Hello, this is Algebra 2. We are in Chapter 13, Section 1. This is page 3 of the notes. We have example 2 here where we have to figure out everything else in this triangle. Alright, first business. You know that angle C is 90 degrees, and you know that angle B is 56 degrees. So, since it's a right triangle and one of them is 56 degrees, the other one has to be 90 degrees minus 56 degrees. So we're talking about 34 degrees. This matters. This will matter a lot moving forward. But I'm going to erase those circles because they're just in the way now. So now, to do tangent of 56 degrees, well, let's see. Tangent of 56 degrees is opposite over adjacent. So we're talking about opposite over adjacent, and the opposite side is B, the adjacent side is 13, and so now to solve for B we need to multiply both sides of the equation by 13. Oh, look at that. 13's cancel, and you get B equals 13 times tangent of 56 degrees. Now you'll need to make sure that your calculators are in degree mode to solve this. If you have a graphing calculator, you hit the mode button and you need to move it down to a degree, hit enter, and then you can quit. If you don't have a graphing calculator, it's probably already in degree mode, but there's a way of moving it around into degree mode. I can help you guys out one by one with that, of course. And but you know, when you're done. So we know that B is about 19.27. That's a great start. But now, over here they've asked us to look at secant. To be honest, I think that's a silly choice, but hey, we can do it. Secant of 56, let's see, that's the sha part in cho sha. So we know that B is about 19.27. That's a great start. But now, over here they've asked us to look at secant. To be honest, I think that's a silly choice, but hey, we can do it. Secant of 56, let's see, that's the sha part in cho sha cow. So hypotenuse over adjacent. Okay, so the secant of 56 degrees is the hypotenuse over adjacent. So it's C over 13. And so then we're talking about how to get to C, you do 1 over cosine of 56 degrees, but then you have to multiply it by 13, because up here you had to multiply both sides of the equation by 13. Now, this looks unnecessarily complicated. The reason why they did this part here is that your calculator almost certainly does not have a secant button on it, including the graphing calculators. They don't have secant buttons. So you have to do cosine of the thing and then flip it around upside down. Still have to multiply by 13. So you end up with about 23.25. Again, you've got to make sure that your calculator's in degree mode. It won't flip back on you, but if you ever reset the memory or something, then you're out of luck. Alright, so angle A is 34 degrees. Figured that out in the first business there, subtracting from 90. Side B is about 19.27 long, and side C is about 23.25-ish units long. And that's it for example 2. So here we have our first checkpoint. If you want to go ahead and try number 1 on your own, that'd be great. A lot of people, including really bright people who great at math and people who aren't great at math, everybody, they misunderstand this question, and they don't know that the only thing that's being asked for is the 6 trig functions of the angle, right? So we want to know what the sine of theta is, what the cosine of theta is, what the tangent of theta is, what the cosecant of theta is, what the secant of theta is, and what the cotangent of theta is. So basically, you've got to fill in these kinds of blanks. Would have been more helpful if they had just told you that more directly. But literacy is underrated. So you got to fill in these 6 things, and I will warn you, to do that, you need to find the missing side of the triangle first. I'll go ahead and pause for a few seconds so you can pause the video, try it yourself, come back and see how you did. Okay, here we are. Now for the first order of business, you had to figure out the missing side. So down right below the triangle in green is the information about how to figure out the length of the missing side. This time, because the missing side was a leg, you didn't add the 2 sides squared together. You end up actually subtracting them and then square rooting. You get 8. Then, to do the sine, the cosine, and the tangent. Well, sine is hypotenuse over opposite, so it ends up being 12 over 4 square root 13. Once you clean up the square roots by multiplying top and bottom by square root 13, and then reducing the fraction, it ends up being 3 square root 13 over 13. For cosine, it's 8 over 4 square root 13. Again, once you clean up the square roots, multiplying top and bottom by square root 13, and then reduce the fraction, it's 2 square root 13 over 13. Finally, for tangent, you end up with 3/2. The 3 new friends, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. So cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite, so it's 4 square root 13 over 12. You don't have to rationalize the denominator anymore, which is nice, but still reduce. You get square root 13 over 3. The secant is hypotenuse over adjacent, so it's 4 square root 13 over 8, and so you reduce, and it's square root 13 over 2. And then finally for cotangent, it's adjacent over opposite, so it's 8 over 12. That reduces to 2/3. Now, for question 2, it says solve triangle ABC. Wish it just said find it and be like, oh, it's there. But basically, you're missing 3 pieces of information. You're missing angle B, what it is. You're missing side A, what it is. And you're missing side B, what it is. There are a variety of ways of doing this, so there's not just one. I'll show you one for each of them in a minute, but you should give yourself a chance here. Go ahead and pause the video, try this. When you come back, I'll still be here and I'll have answers for you. Okay, so first of all, you find that missing angle B. It's 53 degrees. Subtract the known 37 from 90. And then to find side A, you really need to notice that the sine of 37 degrees is A over 22, opposite over hypotenuse. Then you multiply both sides by 22, you get about 13.24. For side B, it's probably easiest to notice that the cosine of 37 degrees is B over 22, and then when you multiply both sides by 22, you end up with about 17.57. And those are our answers. And that's the end of the checkpoint. And that's the end of page 3 of the notes. Thank you for watching.